Does anybody else remember Lord of the Rings Conquest? Released in 2009 by the game development team Pandemic, Conquest was basically a Lord of the Rings version of the Battlefront series, having you play as the forces of good or evil in the kingdom of Middle-earth. And like many other console games during that time period, it would have a demake of it put on the Nintendo DS. Unlike some demakes during that time period, however, some people have said that this game is a hidden gem, and is a lot better than it actually has any right to be. So let's review this sucker, and see if it's garbage or not. If you've ever played the Battlefront games before, then you should feel right at home with Lord of the Rings Conquest. The game has 3 different game modes, that being Campaign, Conquest, and Instant Action. Let's start with the Campaign. The Campaign is made up of 10 different levels, not counting the tutorial. 5 levels for good and 5 levels for evil. Each level begins with some text for context before seeing a low-resolution cutscene. Usually, the campaign's missions will give you a series of objectives, such as killing a group of particular enemies, taking over a critical area or position, or destroying siege ladders and catapults. Just like Battlefront, there are 4 main classes and 1 hero that varies depending on the side you're on and the map. The first class is the Warrior, which are armored grunts that specialize in melee combat with decent defense, but lack any form of ranged attacks. The Archer is pretty self-explanatory, being a class that specializes in ranged attacks, but lacks in close-range combat. Then there's the Mage, which can use spells for high damage, but has rather low defense. After that comes the Special Class, which have the highest offense and defense of all the classes, but are slow and cannot be used until you've killed a certain number of enemies.
Jeez, by the time I get over there, the battle's gonna be over.
And then finally, we have the heroes, which usually have you play as iconic Lord of the Rings characters, such as Gandalf, Legolas, and Aragorn, just to list a few. Then we have the game's combat itself, which is easily the best part of the game. You have normal attacks and 2 alternate ones that use mana in order to be able to perform them. You can restore your health and mana through orbs, which enemies will sometimes drop upon their death. There are also orbs that will boost your speed and attack power until you die. Conquest is a pretty respectable game, but that isn't to say there aren't a few problems with it. One issue I had with the game was its maps. It's not that I don't like them, I just wish there was a slight more variety, as most maps feel dull looking with only gray and brown colors, with almost all of them usually taking place in either castles or in forests. The camera to this game is also a little wonky at times, but hands down the biggest issue is the soldier AI, as there isn't a way to command your teammates or give them any form of orders, which can get pretty annoying at times, as you will find yourself having to do objectives alone or having your fellow soldiers randomly abandoning you. You guys coming? Apparently not. As for the Conquest and Instant Action game modes, they are basically more of the same, with you simply picking a map and side to fight on. As for my thoughts on Lord of the Rings Conquest, I think it's a pretty good game that could have been a lot better with just a few minor changes to it, such as having a few more maps and slightly better AI.
Not bad, not bad.